Code Red tonight. That's right.
Yeah.
It's all about the GOP and what's, you know me. If there isn't any truth, but the whole truth and nothing but the truth, you can get it in your mailbox today. Mark, tell them all about it.
Hey, you should have got if you haven't got your mail yet, run out and get it. You should have had the latest copy of the Me Truth election edition, and hey, the election's coming up. It says right on top. Election's coming up November 7th.
That's like right
November
around the corner.
7th. Now, we really can't call that election day anymore because it's more of an election season.
That's the last minute.
That's actually the election deadline is November 7th, right? That's the last opportunity to vote.
And thanks to Susan Masterson for expanding voting locations.
Yeah, so we've got if you go, this is not just us, touting our people. We try to educate with this as well.
That's right.
We did use the Rand Paul update for this month.
That's right.
And we talk about we have an article on our principles and our vote and how we should vote our principles.
Please get to know your candidates and more importantly, Republicans. If you watch this, if you play this back, Democrats, if you watch this and play this back. Listen, if you are for any of these candidates, then you got to get out and vote. Because I'm telling you right now, Meade County can make a difference in how say Jefferson County votes. Let's say it's really close in the race in Jefferson County, right? And let's say Andy Beshear is leading in votes by population. See, the whole state wins by population, not by districts or precincts. Right. So if Daniel Cameron loses by 1,000 in Jefferson County, if we turn out with more than 25% of the voters, we could overturn Jefferson County.
But if you look at Jefferson County, right? Jefferson County it's going to be heavily Democratic. It's going to be more Democrats vote in Jefferson County than any other county in Kentucky.
Because we don't get out of bed and go vote.
Well, it's not just that. It's because it's heavily populated with Democrats. So the majority of the votes for Democrats come from Jefferson County, surrounding Lexington and the bigger population centers. But here's the thing. If you think about it like this, Jefferson County, yes, by far the most voters in the Kentucky are in Jefferson County. Well, as far as a single voting block, but there are 120 total counties in Kentucky. Okay. And if every rural county can just pick up another 500 to 1,000 votes, right? They can swing. I mean, that's if you think about it, 1,000 votes is 120,000 in each county, and you say outside of Jefferson and maybe one or two other counties, that is that's an extra 113,000. You're not going to. It's landslide type numbers if we can get Republicans in those other counties to come out and vote. You have to go out and vote in order to make a difference. And if you think, well, what differences does it make to us? Jefferson County is this, and are we really going to make a difference? Yes, you're going to make a difference. A lot of people don't get fired up about the governor's race and the race, and the statewide races. A lot of times it's because we just came off of local elections, which has really got people. People work hard during the local elections in all these rural counties, and they feel. Okay, they need a break, so they take one off every other year. So last year they did the local elections. This year they're like, okay, well we're not personally in part of a campaign, but we'll go out and vote or we'll help. And if they call us, well, if these bigger statewide campaigns, they don't call all the time, and that's right. And so we as as part of the local party, we try to get people motivated to go out and door knock and stuff on behalf of them. It's easier to get people to, but it's easier to get people to make phone calls than it is to actually get people to actually go knock on doors.
Yeah.
You got to. It takes an effort. It's hard, but we need to do this. And one of the best ways we can reach people right now is right through this podcast and through other venues.
Share, pass it on.
That's right. Talk to your neighbors. Share this podcast. Talk to them about the newspaper you just got. This newspaper is about not just about, hey, go vote for our guy, but it gives you some information about what you want.
You can
these are biographies. We do talk about
Facts.
some of the we talk about things that Andy Beshear did in his during his 4 years about
a comparison of where you would be if you move forward in the governor race.
And right now, Andy Beshear is like, oh, look what we did. We brought the battery factory here. We did blah blah blah. And it's like, well, listen, and he wants to say, well, with the Republicans, it's just the legislature did it. Well, it's absolutely a fact. That the bills that he vetoed, that the state legislature overturned his veto on, and passed it anyway.
Enabled the pathway
and
for
enabled these companies to look at Kentucky and say, hey, right to work. Andy Beshear would never sign a right to work law,
but Cameron's campaigning on it.
But they can't. But he, that enabled Kentucky to attract and he talked in the debate the other night.
Yep. I don't want to go there, but I think that was a tie. But you can go watch that WDRB.
Well, yeah, but there's one thing he brought up in the debate that I said, because he spoke about this. He talked about
Andy Beshear.
Andy Beshear stated that the UAW is they're upset, and he said that they were striking in Louisville because those jobs down there are non-union jobs. And it's like, well, if they go union jobs, here's the thing. If they go union, then you don't get the battery plants to come here because they need to be able to have some control over their wages and not have to fear. Now, I understand.
Now, argumentably, though, Daniel did a good job coming back, and he says we don't even have a workforce. We're short a workforce by about 26%. So, but on the flip side, and he's like, well, we created all these jobs. Yeah, but you can't fill the jobs.
Yeah,
you're going to have to bring
the
people
jobs
into
are created.
Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, and so
our education system is behind because we've salivated over. Well, I'm not going to go down that road because
our education system is behind because we don't think in the future. We think about in the past, and we have to start looking to what are the jobs in 20 years, not the jobs that we've had for the last 20.
Absolutely.
You got to look into the future. That's one of the things I love about Troy Koch.
Yep.
I'm going to say it again. I know we say it all the time, but Troy looks to the future and says, okay, if we're going to have this type of population, this number of people in our population, we're going to need this many jobs, this many homes, this many. And how do you prepare for that? And he works his way backwards to make sure it's in the plan, that there's a plan going forward. Daniel Cameron is doing that. He's trying to look forward. How do we change the educational system so that we're preparing our kids and our young adults today for jobs of tomorrow? And, I think Andy Beshear is more of the, hey, let me just step back and look at the let me step back and let me just make sure we're prepared for the jobs that we've always had, and keep Kentucky in the same rut of and because he wants to make sure that he caters to the UAW. Now I'm not dissing the UAW. I think the UAW is a great organization. They try to take care of their people, and that's what they do. That's what their job is.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's people have a right to go to work wherever they want without having to being forced to go into a union, and that's what Right to Work does. Right to Work says I can go to work in a union shop. I don't have to join the union.
Same as a right to go to school for my kids.
Yeah, but I mean here, and it works. It works well because like you go to look at UPS. UPS is it's in a right to work state. It's got the Teamsters. When they go there, there's incentive to join the union. But if you choose not to, you don't have to.
That's right.
And a lot of the workers still join the union because of the incentives that are there to join the union. And they're like, okay, but there's still a lot that can choose not to. And it's working out fine.
Absolutely.
But that's not what we had. If it wasn't for the Republican legislature, we would not have had that opportunity.
Well, we have a special guest tonight.
Who's that?
Would you like to know?
I would like to know.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's not here tonight, but we got a snippet from him. It's Daniel Cameron. And if you really want to hear about where he's coming from, outside of what we provided you in the paper, and then we'll expound on his thoughts a little bit more. But,
hey, guys, this is Daniel Cameron. I'm excited about the November 7th election, and I'm counting on you guys to get to the polls. If you care about good quality schools, making sure that they get back to the basics of reading, writing, and math, math and that they aren't incubators for liberal and progressive ideas, then you will get out on November 7th. We can change this Commonwealth. We can make sure that the far left indoctrination is removed from our schools. And we can make sure that we support our teachers. Look, I'm married to a school teacher. My mother retired as a public educator, and my sister-in-law teaches right now. So education is critically important to us. We can have a world-class education system. We can protect the unborn. We can make sure to preserve our coal industry and our Second Amendment rights. And we can make sure that our churches and our small businesses are never shut down again. Please vote for Daniel Cameron on November 7th. I am counting on this county and in this region to get us across the finish line in first place. God bless you and God bless Kentucky. And we can make sure that our churches and our small businesses are never shut down again. Please vote for Daniel Cameron on November 7th. I am counting on this county and in this region to get us across the finish line in first place. God bless you and God bless Kentucky.
Yeah, I think he did a great job visiting. He's been here numerous times in the county. You saw him at the county parade. He was running to get your hand shaken.
Over the place. I think we need to bring. We have some of that video. I don't know if we have it for this week, but in the coming weeks, we need to bring some of that up.
Absolutely. But one of the things that it intrigues me about him, and he definitely talked to us about education, but in this paper, we've provided a lot of material, but also we gave you the reasons why Daniel is firm a fix. And one of the things he told us at the last gathering we had, it was a fundraiser. It was pretty expensive, but these races aren't cheap, and so we called out folks who wanted to be there. It was voluntary, and to make donations. And we did a pretty good job raising some money for him. But one thing that he said, two things I'm going to cover. One thing that he said is, I am not going to back down on abortion. He has no shame in his game. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. And now, that scares a lot of mothers. But let me put the perspective that you don't hear when you get the snippets. He very much thinks it's very tragic what happened to the 12-year-old girl who was a constant campaign advertisement. He is very empathetic and sympathetic to those that happened, but he also asked the same question. Where was the point of rescue in the school system where she could have had an outlet? And then you bring up the same point about all of the people who commit those types of crimes that Andy Beshear released early from their sentences back into our communities, who create the average number of rapes in the state that are prosecuted. So, that we don't necessarily highlight, but we talk about Right for Life. He is not shameful about it. A lot of that is between you and your doctor, but not at the taxpayer expense. Now, it's very tragic what happened to the young lady, but if you are unprotected and freely out there having relations, and it's not up to the government to come and rescue you in that situation, and that child has a life.
I mean, when we, as a firm pro-life believer,
absolutely,
you don't punish a baby for other people's sins.
That's right.
Okay. Now I know that's easy for me to say as a man, that I'm not, this is not something I have to personally deal with.
That's right.
However, here's the thing. How many rapists are let go out of jail and only to rape again or to do other crimes? And
he's all about severe crime penalties for those who commit those acts.
That's right. I mean, what we're looking at is
not letting
how do we I'm not asking for the death penalty for a rapist. I'm not.
Castration maybe.
But I mean, there has to be something more permanent, like life in prison.
Removal of your hands.
We have to. Severing, we can go back to the Old Testament, right?
I don't know. I guess.
The Old Testament was death, so but I don't necessarily advocate that, because I also believe that people are generally redeemable, but it's but you redeem them behind bars. You don't redeem them in the community.
Let me move into the other two areas, and education freedom and forced gender preferred pronouns. Daniel Cameron, for teachers, there are teachers in our system. We talked about the unions earlier, right? It's very difficult, I would think, to be a Christian teacher, have your values and beliefs over here, but inside of the school system, you're forced to walk a walk, or you're shamed. And the minute you're shamed, you can't get a job anywhere, because if it follows you from state to state if your profession is to be a teacher. And, it's very challenging for Christians to hide in that environment and then live their values. But, Daniel Cameron is not for forced gender pronouns on children. You're a male or you're a female. And we gave you a reference to that. And then the educational freedom. Listen, if you want to go to a school because you don't like the way or what your kids are being taught as established by the state school board of education or the local school board of education, my tax dollars should follow my child if they want to go to a private school because they feel that the education is more with their values. As long as they're learning reading, writing, arithmetic, and math comprehension and paragraph comprehension and reasoning, and art and all those other things, and they're getting the same level of education. In fact, in some cases, I've seen a better level of education. But I'm not picking apart any of our local schools, but that happens across schools.
It does. I mean, it just adds what I call clutter. What we're doing is all these ideologies and these sexuality discussions and things at that level are just creating clutter that kids are not really learning the things that we need. Why do we send them to school? Why do we send kids to school? We don't send kids to school to learn how to be
productive members of the environment, the community, citizenship in the community.
We teach them so that they can have the tools necessary to be able to move forward in society
and function.
We don't have. We need to make sure that you don't have to go to college, right? I am not a firm believer. I'm not a believer that you have to go to college and have a college degree. Go and get a good trade skill. Join one of the trade. That's the party line here.
Somebody wanted to dial in.
I don't know if they want to dial in or if they. What? Let me see who this is real quick. Let me see if I can find something here. It may just be dinging at me now, but
Okay.
I didn't recognize the number, so.
That's all right.
I did not pick up, and I wasn't expecting a call. So if somebody wants to call in,
interestingly,
please call. If you want to call and you want to talk on the air, please call back. We'll put you on. But we were just in the middle of a conversation, so I couldn't pick up at the time. So apologize for that.
At the point I want to make is in your paper is a lot of cross-reference points to get some true facts and making a decision. Look, I got it. We're on the Daniel Cameron bandwagon, but it's not that I'm on the Daniel Cameron bandwagon. It's that I'm on the bandwagon of a lot of these issues.
And he's
carrying the torch that's going to lead the victory on these issues. And no, I don't want my boys to be going into a girl's bathroom, and I don't want any girls going into the boys' bathroom because they're confused about their gender. It's deemed at birth. It's on your birth certificate, and it should not be changed by anybody up until... I
mean, they just. I don't want to get into the whole gender concept. There's a lot of stuff that we can get into that,
you do a really good job traversing in the paper. If you get to the middle of the paper, you talk about the principles and the values and their platforms. I thought if you get to this paper, if you're not mad by now, at least open it up in the middle and do a side by side comparison. This is all the reality of the launching points from each platform.
I mean, it's amazing to me how many people in the Democratic Party look at this and say these are lies, that Republicans don't really believe these things. I mean, it's absolutely
That's not true.
I know. It's like only the Democratic Party in their eyes tells the truth.
And I tell you,
and I'm not saying that the Democratic Party lies here.
No,
because I think that I just have a disagreement in what these things, whether these things should be allowed in society or not just allowed. I'm not. But need to become prominent in society, right?
Yep. And don't get me wrong. Let me rephrase. Well, let's rephrase this. This is the platform of the Democratic Party.
That's right. And this is just a snippet of the platforms.
And it does not mean that our citizens of Meade County who are Democrats follow these necessary values.
No, that's true.
Because this is this is a platform value. What we've noticed, and we in talking to Democrats and Republicans, is these would be if they're. Like, so far, I'm dedicated to the Democratic Party. There's nothing you can tell me that would change my mind. But I've ran into Democrats that are in our county that have said, I voted for Biden. I made a mistake the second time around, but I've also voted for Trump. You know what I mean? So, you know, and in hearing that conversation, there's flexibility even in the Republican Party. Republicans will tell you that I vote for the best candidate. Well, the purpose of this comparison is so that you can see where where they launched the entire platform from.
Yeah, I mean, it's
From a national basis.
This is, and see, I don't know how the Democratic Party comes up with theirs. I don't, because I'm never.
Well, we went over that the other night on the episode. We talked about they change it.
Well, I
They
mean,
change it to meet a narrative. The Republicans have stayed steadfast and
well, it's not just that. The Republicans, though, I know how the Republican Party makes this platform because we're part of the process. So when the platform comes up, so we will do a review of the platform, but we don't review the platform. But what we do is they start at the precinct level, and when we have our mass meetings, you start asking for. They ask for platform planks. So this platform gets removed basically completely in the Republican Party every 4 years. Now, I will say this: they did not do this process during the COVID situation. That should have happened in 2021, but because of COVID and all that, they just rolled over the platform from 2016. But in 2025, we will go through the process of redefining what the Republican Party is. The Republican Party completely breaks itself down. I know a lot of people don't believe this, but it's absolutely true. It breaks itself down all the way down to the precinct. There's no officials. There are no officials until when we start this process. And this process will happen in 2025. And we will start at each precinct will come and get together, and they will select a captain, a co-captain, and a youth captain for the precinct. Right. So there's 19 precincts in Meade County. There will be 57. There will be 57 slots to fill within those. 3 in each. 3 times 19 is 57. Yeah. So
is that when we identify the delegates too, or no?
No. The delegates come at a later time. But yes, I mean, we will. We used to do it in the presidential year, but they've separated it now. We do the presidential year with the big convention, the presidential convention, blah, blah, blah. And then the next year is when we do the reorganization. So we started doing this. We started doing it this way, I think in it might have been 2016. I think the first time we did it this way, where we did the year after. So anyway, so the Republican Party, you go to your precinct on a specific day. It's put in the newspaper. Everybody should have at least 2 weeks of time to look at this. We try to put it out even earlier, but there's a big call to reorganize. We all go to our precincts. We choose a captain, co-captain, and by ballot. It's like we take nominations, and then we vote on each one of those. Those are then submitted to the county. So the current county committee becomes a temporary committee, and actually just the chair becomes a temporary chair for that meeting, and then it goes through the process of putting together the new county committee, which is made up of those 57 slots. Those 57 slots are then choose a new county committee, right, for the whole county. So that becomes the chair, the vice chair, the youth chair, the secretary, and the treasurer. Those 5 positions are chosen by the 57 precinct. You can call them delegates from the precincts, and then we all get together and go to the 2nd district, which is our congressional district, which is our Brett Guthrie's district. That's he's our representative. We all meet in a location, and we then choose at the precinct level, or I'm sorry, at the district level, the chair and the vice chair have are voters in the district for district business.
Got it.
So we go there, same thing. The district chair becomes the temporary chair for that meeting, and then we vote on usually they do a slate. It doesn't have to. You don't have to do it by slate, but usually they do a slate just to make it progress faster. But you can, if you don't want that slate to win, you can just ask for. You can simply talk to your fellow delegates or your fellow chairs and co-chairs or vice chairs and say, hey, I would like us to vote on this person specifically. I'd like to see this person instead of that person out of the slate, whatever it may be. And to do that, you just have to say, we're not going to vote on the slate. We're going to vote no on the first slate. And then it goes back and does it, then there's a new slate.
Sounds like a caucus.
Oh, it kind of is.
Yeah.
It really is kind of how it works. So, and I know I didn't mean for this to become an education, but it's a pretty good, we'll come back to this, but the point is that the Republican Party completely starts over every 4 years, rebuilds this. We submit planks of the platform. It goes to each level. And then those are combined and summarized together, and then eventually they go all the way up. But the thing is the things that are important to Republicans at the precinct level are these things.
That's right.
That's where this comes from.
Middle of the section of the paper that you got in the mail. Check it out. It's a side-by-side comparison. More importantly, you're taking all of your information from this, and then when you go to the polls, which, by the way, I'd like to talk to you about. It's on the very last page before you flip to the back. I'd like to say, Susan has done a great job. Masterson, she's opened it up. We've got early voting November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the Home and Garden Building at the Meade County Fairgrounds. Super easy. I've done it. It's like, super fast. Please, Republicans, do not wait till the last day to try to get out there and vote. The last time the high school was packed, there was a line. Everybody's trying to get in there.
Yeah,
before
don't be afraid to go vote at the fairgrounds early.
Go early. You're good.
It's available to you. Use it. And use that. Help. Take a friend and call your friends. Let them know. Come. Let's go vote. Let's get it done.
Yeah. Absentee in person is excused October 25th through November the 1st. That's already started. Next week. And then absentee by mail, for those folks who watch us from afar, you can cut off to order a mail-in ballot is by the 24th. So our military servicemen and women who are out and about, you can get your absentee ballot in through the clerk's office. And then on election day, so this is where it gets really tough.
Actually, you can go to govotekentucky.com.
Absolutely.
And and you can get it there. You don't have to call the clerk's office.
You can do it online.
So
you can do it online. That's right. Thanks, Mark. And then all the precincts, Meade County High School, of course, on election day, Muldrow Precinct, Flaherty, and now Ekron, and then Painville. So there's 5 voting locations on the 7th. But if you remember the last election when we did the judges race and the county, a lot of the county seats, man, it was up late trying to get all those votes.
I think it was the line was so long. I think all the votes finally got in around 8:00, 8:30, something like that.
So, and
but
people, they let everybody in, but it was cutting the wire. And Republicans, we have got to show up in full force.
We did, yeah. We have to.
We have over how many thousand voters in Meade County?
There are approximately 23,000 total voters. 51% of those are
so
10,000. So you're around 12,000 voters. Yeah.
Listen, 12,000 Meade County Republican voters. I would say that if we got even 80%, we would turn the entire state with that kind of turnaround.
I mean, if you think about it, Matt Bevin would have won if we would have had 5,000 more votes.
That's right.
And if we could have gotten every Republican in Meade County,
Less than that.
If we had if we could have got he would have won easily. Mm-hmm. We don't typically it's very low turnout. We need to turn that around. We need people to go vote.
Right. Which brings me to my next conversation. If you think you're going to go out and vote, or you're going to go out and vote, you're dedicated Republican, you're listening to this show, I need you to be here 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, right here at the train station. Right. I need you to come out here and help us knock on those doors and your neighbors' doors. We'll give you signs. We'll give you literature. You go back to your neighborhood and you go pound on those doors of your neighbors and you hand them the information.
That's right.
If you know your neighbors and you know how they are, you tell them, I need you to show up to vote. If you're going to vote, get your neighbors. If we had,
even if you don't want to show up here at 9 a.m.
Yep.
Go talk to your neighbors.
Please.
Go talk to your neighbors. Say, hey, let's make sure we vote. Do you need a ride?
Yeah, call
Offer
us.
to make a ride. If you need somebody to give
us.
them a ride, give us a call. We'll figure it out. 270-945 3418.
PM us on this or the Meade County GOP. You can PM us on here. We will get literature to that house that needs it. And by all means, take the paper next door to your neighbor. Did you read this?
Yeah.
Did you read this? Yeah, I did. I threw it out. I can't believe they had the audacity to send that to my house. Well, you walk over there and you say, did you read it? And they're going to say, well, why would I read something like that? Well, you might want to. Take a look at what they said about you in the paper. Then they'll read the whole paper just to look for their name in there. But I want to throw that into you because I'm telling you, we're coming down to the wire, and every vote is going to matter in Meade County. And I just tell you, Republican Party in Meade County, you're showing the state something that could be happening in every county. And these large cities are going to have to learn how to get along and know that the real America is out in the rural area too.
Yeah, I mean this is real America. This is conservative principles.
And we know we got Democrats, conservatives.
That's right.
Democratic Party.
That's why I said it that way.
Yeah.
This is and the thing is, and there's when you talk about we talk about it here. Our principles, our vote. Vote your principles. If the people in the Democratic Party are not aligned to your principles, and you can look it up,
the National Party,
or even the local party, right?
Yep.
Because the National Party tends to control the state parties and the local parties.
And if you're
that's
Biden
why it's dwindled.
If you're on the Biden bandwagon, that's exactly what Daniel keeps talking about. Look at what our country's done in the last 2 years that we've been under the Biden administration. I'm just telling you. And if you're that side of the Democrat and you're frustrated with what Biden's done, folks, Daniel Cameron's pointed out plain as day, but Andy Beshear is living the Biden dream in support of it. It is one of the nationally watched gubernatorial races of the year.
I don't understand. I mean, I told you we've had since the paper came out. I had we put up almost 14,000 papers.
That's right.
It was 13,000 and change, and today I've received and we put our phone number on the paper. Mm-hmm. So the phone rang today twice.
Good.
Both of them were negative about the paper, but really it was, and there was not the first one. There was not going to be any convincing that person, and that's okay. But this first person, he was yelling and screaming and hollering and cussing me, and without even talking to me. And
that's a problem.
It is a problem. But by the time we finished talking, we talked for almost 45 minutes or more.
Is that what you wanted to do on the?
Oh, it was hard because he would not. I mean, he did not want to hear.
It's in here.
He asked a question, and then when I started to speak, he just wanted to complain. I'm like, listen, I'm trying to explain to you some of these things, and he's.
Oh, that's not it. Hold on. I can't get it to stop.
No.
It's in here. Hold on, I got it. That's what it was. I was just kidding. Go.
It's too late now.
I screwed it up.
I don't hear myself anymore. So
you're in there.
I'm just because that's too loud.
Oh, you're good. Sorry about that. But anyway.
So the way the conversation went, we haven't used them in a while. Mm-hmm. The way the conversation went, and ultimately we were able to stop and start finding common ground on some things. And it was like the big thing is that he was convinced, Donald Trump needs to be in jail. Biden is being wrongly accused, and it's in his mind that way. And there was not going to be any way to convince him otherwise. And I wasn't trying to convince him, but I was like, let's talk about the things that we might agree on. And ultimately, he calmed down. We had a nice long conversation, and I don't think that we're going to be. I don't think he's going to vote Republican, but at the same time, we at least demonstrated that if we'll just stop yelling,
that's right,
we can talk and we can find common ground on things that we can go work on together. I'm not going to just agree with your method.
Sure.
And you're not going to just agree with my method, but we can at least agree that we need to do something. And then we can start looking at, okay, well, what if we look at a little bit of what you're wanting to do, and we look at it and we do it, maybe we just don't do it as fast. We do it a little bit over more time, and we allow for this other piece to catch up, and we're not leaving people behind because we're trying to force something to happen. And we agreed on that. And it's like, those are the type of things. But the big thing, the one thing that we really agreed on was there's no statesman in Congress anymore.
No.
It doesn't, he, and his point, well, I agree with his point, his premise anyway, but his point about, he was talking about how the Republicans are an embarrassment because they can't choose a House. I said, but it's really about 8 people. I said, well, he goes, well, who do you agree with on that? Those 8 or the others? I said, well, really and truly, I agree with I agree with the majority at that point. What's
best for the party?
What's best for the party? What's best for the country? And the best thing for if the best thing for the country is for us to have a Speaker of the House and to get that settled, then those 8 people are wrong. Okay, and you don't want to work within it. They don't want to work within that, and they want to have their own person. Well, now it's going back and forth. So here we go. Right. Yeah. And now it's like, oh, it's an embarrassment. Well, you got to remember that the Democrats helped create this, and they're sitting back hoping that it happens.
That's right.
So who's worse? The people who are trying to make change within the Republican Party and within using the party to make that change happen, or the Democrats who are trying to stir it up and keep it from and make sure we stay
dividing us.
That's right. And that's exactly what happened. The Democratic Party took those 8 with those 8 people to get rid of McCarthy, and at the same time, now they're sitting back watching the show, and all these people are saying, well, the Republicans can't do it. Man, it's not just Republicans. It's Republicans and Democrats that can't get their act together in Congress.
These United States of America united in order to form a more perfect union. Divided, we will fall. Does not say anymore.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope we've given you a lot of entertainment and education tonight. And if you don't get it from us, you can get it from the paper. Lots of information.
That's right.
And Mark, I think Saturday, what time do we start?
So Saturday, they're going to be meeting out here at 9 a.m. If you can't knock on doors and walk, we need people to drive people. If you can't be there to walk or drive, we need you to make phone calls. You don't have to come down here to walk, but at least go get your neighbors, talk to your neighbors, and make sure they come out and vote. We need every Republican needs to come out and vote. For a straight Republican ticket.
That's right.
Not just go in and just vote for Daniel Cameron. We want the straight Republican ticket.
That's it.
We need to make a statement just like that, just like we did last year. Yeah. Let's do it for the state level, and let's show that Meade County matters. And the only way to make sure that Meade County always matters is to get out and vote.
That's right.
Put your number down.
I want to see 8,000 of our voters hit the mark. So get out there and vote. Tell them, get them out.
8,000 would be over 60%. That'd be awesome. That'd be an awesome turnout for Republicans. 2, 3, 4 November early voting out at the fairgrounds at the building. You can go there, get early voted. If you got any questions, you can go online for the absentee. Give us a call. We'll be glad to pick up the phone and talk to you. One last thing. We will be having an after election party or whatever. We'll have an election day party. We're working on the location right now, but we will have one, and it'll be like just bring a dish to share type of thing, a potluck, and bring your whatever you like to drink and so on to share. So
Democrats are welcome to join us. There will be no name throwing or name calling. It'll be a friendly event. We are, after all Meade County citizens. And in case you want to change your mind, there will be voter registration cards for you. So you can adjust your line. I don't know. Or you can just say a Democrat. It's fine. But to be honest with you, it's our county and it's our state. So if you want to join us, come on out. It's open to the public.
That's right. Let's exercise our rights.
That's right. And we can have a conversation.
Yes.